Wait for it. Wait for it. And we're live. Hey, all you crazy sci-fi and fantasy fans. It's time for your daily dose of shenanigans over here at the Blasters and Blades podcast. Just a couple of nerdy veterans and one chaos coordinator geeking out over our science fiction passions and fantastical fantasies. A place where magic is king, the sky is the limit, and space is the place. We are the podcast that puts the fun in dysfunction. So without further ado, we're going to let our guests introduce themselves. And going in alphabetical order as the oracle known as Word Perfect tells me it should be, I am going to ask Miss Jana S. Brown, sometimes cosplaying as Jena Rey, introduce yourself.
Are you really using Word Perfect?
You using Word? Cooler than Microsoft Word.
Oh, I see. I was going to say, you're young enough that I'm not sure I believe that you ever used Word Perfect.
I mean, my first computer was a Commodore 64.
Okay, that's not bad. We allow you to be in the club. I'm Jana S. Brown. I write science fiction, fantasy, and urban fantasy and other such things under the pen name Jena Rey, and I have been at this for a long time, and I'm excited to be here. Even though I'm not a huge fan of the movie, so this is going to be fun. We're going to contrast.
Okay.
Compare. Fight to the death.
We'll get into that in a few minutes, obviously.
Yes,
All right, next we have the lovely Miss Melissa McShane of Warhamster fame.
Of Warhamster fame. Hi, I'm Melissa McShane, and this time I am coming to you live from my own house in Utah instead of India. I'm here for a couple of weeks, and I'm in my own library. Normally, you'll see me with the background picture of my library. This is the real thing. And I have written many, many fantasy books. And I am excited to be here because I do like this movie, and I am looking forward to talking about it.
I like this movie too, and since this is airing when it is, you should have your package by then.
So yeah.
Talk about your cool wooden plaque. I am pulling up a picture of it.
Oh yes, good, because I don't have access to it. Yeah.
Yeah,
this was the coolest thing.
One of the listeners, Garrett, who is the one who sent us the podcast, what is it? The podcast wooden plaque. I was looking for the word plaque, but he made one for you.
Yes.
For the Warhammer, and I am loading that up. So we'll get that up right now. Okay, I lied. Right now.
And
there we go.
Lotus.
Yeah.
And now, wait for it.
There we go. Look at that. Isn't that adorable?
He made that
I'm so excited. He made it for me.
He carved her name in it. It's a war hamster.
Okay, so you have to explain. The war hamster is because my series War Master was something that JR mispronounced right up at the beginning as War Hamster, and then he had the hardest time remembering that it was not War Hamster, and it became a running joke. So that's why I have this War Hamster, because of my series War Master, and now I'm going to get it wrong. Thank you, JR.
But we also have the super duper awesomely cool War Hamster anthology that will be coming out later this year. And that one also did really well. Jana made the cover for that one. I am scrolling up so I can download that one as well.
Yeah, so we may tweak it depending on the nature of the stories. We might have to have alternate covers depending on what the nature of all the different stories are.
Yeah, that was my suggestion, is wait to see what all's going to be in it so you can tailor the cover to the contents.
One of the nice things, though, is any cover art we get, we can also put them in on some of the dividing pages, so that there's use for War Hamster art at all different levels. In fact, we ought to take a picture of this and put it in as one of the
that's a good idea. Yeah,
that would be really cute because we could put it in before your story.
Well, he's got
he's
got the original art that he based so he's got that. We could totally use that. He had a couple of alternate versions. They all look adorable. But I am just thrilled to get this. It is so cute. I'm really happy about it.
All right. I have officially got the other two. So now I can add them as well. So we're going to remove that.
Okay.
Remove that. We're not forgetting about you, Susanna. I promise.
You'll have to.
We'll get there. We're just easily distracted. We're like that.
Yeah.
Jana has been super busy, so she is doing all of the covers for our future anthologies to give cool covers at lower prices so we can lower the price. We have to sell it to people. But let me remove that now that you've seen it. and I can show you the full one because that's all the work she's done. And here it is. And obviously, like there is room to change, but it just looks so cute. It's like
I love that little war hamster. He's so cute.
He is very adorable.
It has such Redwall vibes.
Yes, it does. That one has Redwall vibes.
But so that is the War Hamster anthology. The stories are going to be due at the end of the month we're recording it. So by July, they should, assuming everyone turns theirs in like they said they would, we should.
I'm
be
about halfway through mine.
Mine
so,
is done.
Halfway through.
Mine is done. So,
so just for the listeners, this is a closed call. We're not going to have everybody come in. We decided, since it's been a running gag within the podcast regulars, that's who you're going to get in this anthology, which means it will be an absolutely kick butt anthology because you're getting, our best and our brightest coming together to each take their own take on what does War Hamster mean, which means we're going to cover all sorts of speculative fiction, but you can be guaranteed a great time. And that'll probably come out this fall because we'll be going through our stories here in a very short period of time, and then away we'll roll.
Yeah.
I combined fantasy and sci-fi, so I did both. I couldn't decide, so I split the needle. Or was it split the baby? Is that the expression?
Yeah.
Split something.
Split the difference.
Split the difference. There we go.
Split the baby.
Yeah.
That's King Solomon.
Solomon.
Yeah, that's kind of totally what I was going for.
Yeah.
This is absolutely not.
I'm not sure about that. Yeah.
All right, save yourself. Have Suzanne introduce herself.
All right, next we have Miss Susanna S.L. Linton on to be a first-time guest on the show.
Hello. So happy to be here. I'm a speculative fiction writer, so I write everything from sci-fi to fantasy to horror to just plain weird. I post stories once a month on my Substack. And I have I have a story in a Raconteur Press collection that came out recently, Weird West. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah.
Weird West is interesting. That is a panel we will do at a future date for sure. Would Serenity and Firefly, would they be considered Weird West? Or is that just Space Western?
They're space cowboys.
Yeah, I think that's more space Western.
We ought to do one on the theme of just what it is, because there's a lot of these new genres. I'm like, I have no clue.
Well, like the gaming thing I was talking about before we went live is set in the game of Deadlands, which is Weird West, and it's interesting because the Deadlands interpretation is Western with magic and magical creatures.
That Western paranormal.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Anyway, so that's a great anthology to be in.
I wrote an anthology, a story for an anthology set in a game universe like that one. It was Weird West post-apoc vibes, and the editor described it as King Arthur meets Columbine.
Well, that's a crossover I wouldn't expect to hear.
Yeah, that was interesting. So the anthology never happened. So I published it in one of my own. But luckily, the producer of the RPG were kind enough to let me do that because it was too good of a story to sit. It's in one of the J.R. Handley anthologies, but yeah, it's definitely a fun concept, mixing like the magical and the Western. So, all right. So the next part of the introduction, dear listener, is how we first found all of them. So as you know, Melissa and Jana and I, we actually used to hunt dinosaurs together back in the day.
That's how we are dinosaurs.
Jana can whip up a really good woolly mammoth steak. I mean, she can just
absolutely.
It's perfection.
It's all about the right seasoning and a good marinade.
And we, Linton was just wandering around in the desert when she found us, and we're like, okay, let's share some of the food. And
there you go.
We started camping together. It's a thing. Luckily, no war hamsters were harmed in the
no
war hamsters were
harmed. Don't cook war hamsters.
That would be a bad thing.
Very bad. Don't do that.
All right, so because the ladies have been guests before, Susanna, you were going to be the one answering the religion questions today. So are you ready for this?
I think so.
All right, Star Wars, Star Trek, or Firefly?
Firefly.
That was the right answer.
That's a good answer. What is it about Firefly that speaks to you?
I really like sci-fi that are gritty and real world. I like it when the ship breaks and you need a special mechanic to fix it. I like that not everything is perfect and clean. I love the dialogue and the dynamics are so relatable, and everything feels very small and close. Even though some of the stakes are really high, it still feels small and close and immediate. So that's what I love about it.
I will say that Serenity and Firefly, they give us the coolest River. Take that, Doctor Who, because River on Serenity is way cooler.
Yes, definitely.
No argument.
Yeah.
All right. So that's an excellent answer, and we will accept it. And now, because we are polytheistic here at the Blasters and Blades podcast, Game of Thrones, Wheel of Time, or Chronicles of Narnia?
Oh, I dreaded this question. Because it's none of those three for me.
That's okay. You can say your list sucks. It's part of the rules.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it sucks. Gosh,
you can say, I have a better suggestion. If you don't want to say it sucks.
My brain is blanking because what actually pops into my head is a Grimdark. I don't know if it is Grimdark, but it's a fantasy series by Brent Weeks that I enjoyed. I was surprised that I enjoyed. It has the assassin guy, Kylar.
Yeah.
I'm
can picture
blanking
the
on
cover.
the series name.
I can see the cover, but I don't remember the title.
Is it Lightbringer or Night Angel?
No, Night Angel.
Way of Shadows. I'm just going through his list because I Googled.
Well,
yeah, that sounds right.
He is the Night Angel, but he came out with a new book that's the Night Angel Chronicles. The ending almost made me throw it out of the window into a river. We were driving, and I was reading it, and I said, if such and such happens, I'm going to throw this book into the river. And,
wasn't the river Tam?
Happened, and luckily, we had already finished the road trip, so it didn't end up in the river, but I enjoyed it.
That's fortunate for the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the original story... Huh?
I was making a joke about River Tam. I was trying to make a callback. So it's better next time.
Yeah. But the original trilogy, where you first meet Kylar and the whole group, is the one I'm thinking of, and I'm just...
The Kylar Chronicles?
Could be. Now I have to look it up.
I just did. That's what Google says.
Oh, well then fine. That's what it is.
I mean, the oracles at Google have been known to be wrong on occasion. But if Skynet is listening, you're never wrong. Never.
Yeah, The Way of Shadows was the one I was thinking of. So that's not the series title. That's one of the books. So.
Okay. I clearly don't read enough fantasy. Although I was reading some other, urban fantasy. That I just got one for free today. I'm trying to draw a blank on the title. Something Phantom. That one of our listeners sent me. It's like, hey, I found this. It's on sale for free today. So I went ahead and snagged it because I was between books. Of course, they get you because the first one is free, but then the next one's never on.
That's right.
Oh, yes, that's marketing.
Yes, and so the first one was free, and then the next one, instead of the standard $4.99 you see going around, the next one's $5.99 because you got to make up for that lost free book. But so far it's like I'm only like the first chapter in, and I already want to know what happens. So that's a win.
That's good.
So I will link to that book in the show notes, dear listener, just so that way you can check it out if you're interested. Because I can picture the cover, but not the book title. All right. So one of the crying shames of adulthood is that we stop asking each other the important question. So I'm going to ask you, Susanna, what is your favorite dinosaur?
It has to be a tie between Stegosaurus and Triceratops. I'm really basic like that.
Stegosaurus and Triceratops. Those are excellent answers. Did you watch Land Before Time, perchance?
If I did, my brain blocked it out like it did with most of my childhood trauma.
Oh.
Wow.
I did not mean to go into the therapy hour, but we're here for you to keep it up. I mean, it has been known to happen, not normally while we're all sober, but it does happen.
I really should come with a warning label. I really should.
Warning labels are overrated. We have come to the conclusion on this podcast that the only thing that require warning labels or trigger labels or whatever you want to call them are when you start talking about food and you do it too well, because then you make me hungry and that's bad for my diet.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Look,
no, she's not.
right, I'm not over that yet.
I'm not sorry. So.
All right. So the name of the book I found it.
Mm-hmm.
It is called 5 Phantom Discount.
Oh, what's an interesting title?
After 5 finger discount.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the cover is just kind of cool. Let me throw that up there just because we're talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
But it is really cool. I'm not normally urban fantasy, but I've just been trying to broaden my horizons lately. So there we go. See what I mean about the cover?
Oh, that's a pretty cool cover.
It reminds me of Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I just downloaded it, so.
Anyway, all right. So Stegosaurus is an acceptable answer. We will accept that. And then finally, I will drop the link for you guys. Finally, I can't guarantee it'll be free when you listen, though, dear listener. I can't guarantee that part. But finally, I will link that. I will put that in the Facebook group and the Discord. So if you're a member of those, you would have gotten it. So there's a reason to join. But back to the religion questions. Are you ready for the last and most important one of your adult life?
Okay.
All right, because we are civilized human beings here at the Blasters and Blades podcast. We are no longer knuckle dragging troglodytes. So, coffee or tea, and how do you take it over the summer?
Yes.
Yes is a good answer.
Yes. It depends on which one I'm drinking. If I'm drinking coffee, I typically drink it black. If I'm drinking tea, I'll have a little bit of sweetener, a little bit of milk in it. It just depends.
Okay. What about you, Jana? Does it change over the summer for you when it's hot?
Okay, I still love my ice cold Diet Dr. Pepper, but during the summer specifically, I like to make orange Fanta and ice cream floats.
Okay.
And that is very much a summertime beverage for me. It's got that dreamsicle feel to it. And if you get the ratio just right, it's a little crystally and crunchy and it's cold and satisfying. So I like root beer floats, and I really like an orange Fanta soda float in July. July is a good time for drinking those. Crispy, refreshing.
Yeah.
So yes, I do drink slightly different things in the summer. But only slightly. My mug is still here and I love it.
Have you tried the boy child has been having some what do you call it? I guess herbal sun tea. He's digging that one. It's just something to mix it up because it feeds his want for like junky kind of stuff that's not great for you, but because you can add just a little bit of sweetener and it goes a long way,
Yeah.
Yep.
And it gives you that sun flavor that you get just in general. So he's been digging that. I've been doing the regular tea for me. And then we have been doing iced coffee and iced lattes. I dig that, although I will still drink it hot in the summer as well. But I do mine with cream and sugar or flavored creamer most of the time. Lately, to cut calories, it has been regular whole milk instead of like the Coffee Mate stuff because it's like a third of the calories. Not quite as sweet, but I'm learning to accept that.
Rough. It's a rough thing. Dump calories.
I know, but you want to be airborne, you got to be thin. That's what they tell me. So, but yeah, that's my summer gig. For that one. All right. So now that we got that out of the way, you feel okay? You survived the questions, Suzanne.
Yes, I feel.
Are you going to ask Melissa?
You did it. Oh,
you skipped her.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
I highlighted her, so I must not have skipped her. Okay.
No, on the Coke.
I'm sorry, Melissa. So
no, just on the beverage thing. Yeah. But I live in India, so it's summer year-round, more or less. And my latest favorite drink is ginger beer, which you can get readily if you know where to shop in India. And following the ginger theme, if I want something that isn't sugary, I have a ginger lemon sparkling water made with ginger juice. And it's not sweetened with aspartame, which I hate and despise. I cannot bear the taste of it. But this is sucralose and erythritol. And you don't taste anything but the ginger, basically. It's not super spicy, but it is enough to give it a good flavor. And it's a very satisfying drink with my little ice cubes off my ice cube maker on the counter. And so that's what I'm drinking during the summer.
I thought for sure you were going to go with something like butter beer.
No, butterbeer way too sweet. Yeah.
I don't know if that's really
very sugary.
show.
Yeah. I don't know.
They have several versions of it, but I think they're probably it's chicken and egg, which came.
Yeah, I don't know.
Fair. All right. With that out of the way, first, dear listener, since we haven't done a movie review in a while, I will remind you of the terms of service, as it were. And I will say we're going to talk about first the blurb as it is on Amazon or somewhere else, and the summary. So then we'll show the movie trailer, we'll show the movie poster, we'll talk about those. Then we'll discuss the characters, the plot, the world building, the cinematography, and then overall our thoughts on it. So this is the Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie. It was directed by Fran Rubel Kuzui. I am butchering that. I am absolutely 100% positive. Its budget of $7 million in 1992 money. So that's probably like $1 trillion now. It was a box office profit of 16.6. So it did double its profit. I don't know if that's good or bad. It sounds great to me, though.
Yeah.
It is a duration of 86 minutes. It was released on July 31st, 1992. So just yesterday, it was distributed by 20th Century Fox, which is now 20th Century. What? Give me a second. I know this one. It is 20th Century Studios Incorporated now, formerly 20th Century Fox.
Official and ritzy.
Well, because we're showing the trailer in a minute, I have to do the disclaimer. So YouTube doesn't say you're copyright violating things. So I happened to have looked that up earlier. So we found 2 different versions of the ad copy, and I don't know which one was period correct, so I'm just going to read both and we'll discuss it. But a flighty teenage girl, Buffy Summers, learns that she is her generation's destined battler of vampires. And first off, yeah, that is not great, but does everyone else, what do you guys think of that one? Short, sweet, to the point. Does
it works.
Yeah, it works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Battler is a
battler's terrible word
there. But it covers what it is. That's a good elevator pitch.
There's not a lot to the movie other than that, so I'd say that works.
All right,
and then the word kind of fits the vibe too.
Yeah.
Now I want to find a way to use battler in a book, just so Jana, when she edits it, can hate me. She's gonna throw things at the wall because I'm not there. All right, and so this is the one that
I will just mark it and say, you know why.
All right, so for Buffy Summers, nothing is the same after she meets Merrick Jameson Smythe. Merrick tells the team that he's been sent to train her to fight vampires, and he proves himself by displaying his supernatural powers. Buffy is a quick study and soon takes fellow student Oliver Pike under her wing, repeatedly saving him from the fierce bloodsuckers. But when a very dangerous vampire gets her rambunctious, she must go to war again. Gets rambunctious, not her rambunctious. Well, I do not have a second career as the movie voice trailer guy.
Wow,
that's too bad because that's a hole being waited to be filled.
Yes, I guess Terry can take it for us since she's our resident voice.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
But so everyone's thoughts on that.
I don't think Pike was a student. I thought it was kind of established
He was just a slacker, but that's why he came to the dance. That he was
because
also
all the seniors were invited.
But he was her student in that she was teaching him some things in some of the fight scenes.
Yeah, I'm not buying that
that
whole trailer thing. That gives crap away. It uses names that aren't ever used in the film. I mean, he's never referred to as Oliver. He's always Pike.
Yes.
I think it puts emphasis on the wrong aspects of the story. And having heard that, I'm really more in favor of the first one. I think the first one is much better.
Yeah.
One of the things that's hard is finding the ad copy they would have used at the time.
Right. Yeah. I'd like to know which one they used.
I think the shorter one I took from IMBD, I think that's the website.
DB.
Mm-hmm. DB. Yeah. I don't know if that's fan generator or how that works. But I think if you're analyzing the summary and whether it would sell you on a movie, to me it's more germane if we can ever find the original ad copy.
I agree.
Yeah,
that's what sold it or not, given their success. Because like Buffy's got a cult following later, but I don't think it's fair to judge the movie initially by what happens a generation later or whatever.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we're gonna show that beautiful movie trailer. It is loading now.
Mm-hmm.
I just met this girl named Buffy. I'm Pike.
Pike isn't a name, it's a fish.
I liked her even though she seemed kind of flaky. But as it turns out...
You have been chosen, Buffy.
To do what?
To stop the vampires.
Does Elvis talk to you?
And things started getting weird around here. Are we having a nightmare?
You threw a knife at my head.
And you caught it.
She was the one person I could really count on. Kill him a lot.
Hi. Hi. What are you doing here?
What am I doing here? I'm saving your butt. That is a bad guy. Can we go, please?
The Slayer is unmasked. Let's finish it.
I think this relationship has potential.
Hi. How's it going?
You're obviously having a bad hair day.
If she can just get rid of those other guys in her life. Stab him in the heart!
Christy Swanson.
I am so sure.
Donald Sutherland. Paul Rubens. With Rutger Hauer and Luke Perry.
Buffy, you're not like other girls.
Yes, I am.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
You didn't even break a nail.
Directed by Fran Rubel Kazooie. Christy Swanson.
I am so sure.
Donald Sutherland. Paul Rubens. With Rutger Hauer and Luke Perry.
Buffy, you're not like other girls.
So, did that movie trailer sell it to you?
Well, you can tell that they really thought Luke Perry was the selling point.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was the original trailer.
That's funny. That's really funny.
I mean, that was put out by 20th Century Fox's YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Or not Fox, 20th Century Fox, 20th Century Entertainment YouTube channel.
Well,
so it's the official trailer. That's why I went with them.
Yeah.
Was Luke Perry more well known than Swanson?
Oh my gosh, yes. Luke
90210.
Perry was a total teen heartthrob in the early 90s. He was every girl's dream. I mean, he wasn't even the headliner in 90210, and he was the most famous one. So I can totally see why they went with Luke Perry doing the voiceover. And I mean, obviously they had to credit Christy Swanson and Donald Sutherland first, but using him as the voice of the movie, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And the viewpoints.
It would have drawn a lot of people. So.
Yeah, I was only 7 when the movie came out, so I missed all of that.
Oh, I'm so old.
Oh, shut up! You're young. You're a baby. I'm old.
They are both more baby than I am. So, and he was 11. True. So yeah, both of you shut up.
Yeah.
I still shake my fist in the sky and tell people to get off my lawn.
That's right. You can do that. You're allowed.
Although I've been doing that since I was probably like 24. But you know, who's counting? So yeah, for me, the movie trailer would have sold it. I remember watching it, not when it first came out, but like when I was in high school, it was one of the things, you know, when you went together, parties or whatever, it kind of thing people put on in the background. I don't know when the first time I sat and seriously watched it, but I do remember renting it from Blockbuster back in the day. Because my sisters got to pick that night, and they didn't want to watch Rambo again when we would do movie night. They suffered through lots of renditions of Rambo again and again and again. So I had to suffer when it was their turn to pick. And generally, they would go the extreme opposite just to make me miserable. So of course, you know, I had to do the same thing. Because what are siblings for, right? But yeah, I don't know. It sold it for me. I liked it. I liked them showing
it sells the concept. It sells the base concept, and it tells you tonally what this is going to be, because it's really, really campy horror, and not even. I mean, it's only barely
horror. It's only horror because they're vampires.
Because there's vampire and there's blood. You know, there's just enough bleeding everywhere and sticks getting poked into people that I wouldn't want my 12-year-old necessarily jumping into it, because uke her out. So it's kind of skirting those edges, but it tells you this is campy. This is not a serious kind of horror. This is not. They're taking that concept of the cheerleader as hero, and not taking it seriously, but taking it to kind of a campy, fun place versus. Which we won't talk much about, but later the television show, same concept and same writer, all Joss Whedon, but he took it in a much different direction there, with really looking into more of the, well, what would that mean, and how does that affect your family, and all that kind of stuff. And that was not a concern here, and the trailer tells you that. The trailer tells you don't get too worried about this, because it's going to be campy and fun and silly.
Yeah, I would think that they kind of oversold it to me. Like, there's a lot about the movie that's in there, and what I want out of a trailer is just enough to make me want to go see more. I don't want to see everything in the movie in the trailer, because then what's the point? So aside from that, I totally agree with Jana that it tells you exactly what you're getting, and it gives you a good idea that it's fun and campy, and there's going to be goofy stuff, and there's going to be action, and so it's not at all misleading. You know, sometimes you get trailers where they put all the good parts in, and then you watch the movie and it's like, what did I just watch? It's terrible. And this was, you know, this was a perfect representation of what you get in the movie. So good trailer.
I don't think it. I kind of disagree a little bit. I think I don't think it gives away too much, because it doesn't tell you. It tells you part of the problem, which is the vampires, but it doesn't. You get a glimpse of the big bad, but I don't think it, because normally you watch trailers today, you know what what the plot twist is, you know everything, and I don't think you really get that in the trailer. I think there's still enough surprise there to draw people in. I don't think you get the whole plot or anything like that.
No, I think what I mean is that a lot of the funny stuff, a lot of the best parts, they go into the trailer. So you're right. I mean, they don't give away too much of the plot. You're not going to, you know, go into it going, oh, I've already seen all of this. But, and I wish I could remember, there's like a movie that is famous for, they put in every good thing in the movie into the trailer, all the fun little, you know, quips and the cool moments. And then you'd go and watch the movie, and that was all there was. So it's famous for that. But so that's kind of what I'm thinking of, is that it showed a lot of the scenes that, for me, are the best parts of the movie. And so I agree with you. I don't think it's about the plot. Just it feels, I don't know. I just watched it this afternoon, so it's a different experience. But you're right. This is not. Well, I think it's a great trailer. Frankly, I think it's wonderful.
Yeah.
So it does exactly.
I wonder though. I wonder though if the idea of, oh well, it shows like the best parts, is because we've already seen it and we know the context.
Yeah.
So
like I said, I saw it this afternoon. Then, yeah. So yeah, I saw it this afternoon. It's definitely going to be different. You know, I think if you were going into it. Anyway,
so I did a quick Google while you were going on. Not going on. That sounded insulting.
Thank you.
While you were just rambling about everything.
While you were talking, I looked it up, and the movie that is most often cited as having all of the cool parts in the trailer is Prometheus, that came out in 2012. I don't know if
that's the one. Yeah. No, that's the one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Yeah.
That's the one.
To think of it too. Yeah. That's it.
Uh-huh. Because I never saw Prometheus. I just heard about it from other people. And
there's another one that I want to say it was like Cliffhanger, but I could be wrong, where they advertised one major star was in it, and then that guy had a cameo and they killed him off in like the first 10 minutes or something crazy. But his name was the draw to get you into the theater.
Uh-huh. Well, that happened with The Fifth Element too. I mean, speaking of Luke Perry, you know, he's credited in the first part, you know, in the opening credits, and his character has like 15 minutes on screen, and then they shift to the future. So, yeah, I mean, but this, you know, speaking of Luke Perry's draw power, you know, he was someone that everybody wanted to see, or at least young impressionable females wanted to see.
Because he was pretty.
Because he was pretty.
He's a very pretty boy.
He was the pretty boy.
So we will pause for a moment while you can consider the pretty boy, and I will show the commercial, and then when we come back, we can show the pretty movie poster, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
All right.
The government underestimated the outbreak. The best medicines couldn't stop it. Now, the dead are walking the streets, and they're hungry. Zombie Patient Zero is 9 tales of flesh-ripping, brain-splattering mayhem from Bayonet Books, the boldest name in action and horror anthologies. From deep space to luxury resorts, nowhere is safe. Zip up your hazmat suit and dare to find out how it all went wrong. Zombie Patient Zero, from the deranged minds that brought you Contact This and Storming Area 51. Pick up your copy today in paperback or Kindle.
All right. Thank you for sticking with us through that commercial interlude. We really do appreciate it. And so with that, I am going to show you the movie poster, and we can look at the pretty picture and see what you guys think if that works for you. So this was one of them.
Yeah.
Which of course focuses on Luke Perry.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously, Buffy is in there too, but and this is the other one I found, but I think this was one of the anniversary versions.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's just coming soon, so this had to be one of the posters.
One of the early ones.
But it doesn't really show you anything, and we don't even know necessarily that that's the actress's body. So this might have been concept art kind of thing before they'd even cast it.
No, because it's got all the credits down at the bottom there in green.
I'm colorblind. I don't see.
I know you probably can't see it, but in tiny little letters, I see Christy Swanson, and I see Luke Perry, and I can't make out most anything else, but I see those two names. So this is probably promo art. A promo movie.
But interesting promo art because they got rid of the lycra, and a lot of the cheerleaders were wearing lycra either on the top or else on the legs. And here we have a completely different cut of the outfit.
Yeah.
So interesting costume choice.
It has a real slasher vibe to it, especially with the color in the background. And how it just has this grainy sort of feel to it. It looks more like a 70s, 80s slasher, not flasher, slasher flick.
Wrong genre.
Whatever it takes.
It's not that kind of video.
So do you guys? Do you have a preference? I don't watch enough horror to know to get the slasher vibe. But I can see what you're talking about. Do you have a preference of this one or the other one? This one?
I prefer that one because that's the one I thought I had the DVD of, but apparently I don't. I think somebody took it, didn't return it. But so that's the one I prefer because I really do not think of this as a horror movie, even a little bit, despite the vampires. Because I am a total chicken when it comes to horror, and this has never scared me. So that's why it's my definition is not horror. I think you could call it horror light. So, but yeah, I like
horror.
that one.
Yeah, comedy, horror, paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
I
So
feel like it's more true to the vibe.
Yeah.
It's more what?
True to the vibe.
Yeah. I would agree. All right. So first we will go into the cool stuff. So. Since we've talked about the vibe of the show, we'll go into that. So what did you guys think of the cinematography that they used when they filmed this movie?
Okay, to be honest, I was not thinking about cinematography when I watched it until at the very end when she's fighting the vampires outside the high school gym and there's fog all over the ground. And my daughter said, "Oh, fog to cover the padding, so that when they get thrown, they won't get hurt." And I'm like, "Well, how do you know that?" She said, "Just it would make sense that's why they did that." So I think I didn't think there was anything really outstanding about it, and I didn't think there was anything horrible about it, because it didn't occur to me, so it didn't draw attention to itself, is what I'm saying.
Okay. What about you, Jana?
Very similar, because a lot of it shot in such familiar surroundings that they didn't have to do a lot. I mean, it's not like there's huge CGI effects that they're going to be adjusting for the cinematography. The fight scenes and stuff are very simplistic and even very, very silly in several places. So they're not having to adjust for that kind of blocking. They're not having to adjust for it. It's in the high school, it's at the graveyard, it's in the practice rooms, but they're all such really basic sets, to be honest, that they're not having to do a lot around it in order to make that work, which is good in some ways, because it means they can focus on what's going on with the characters. That set just sets us up to go, yes, this could be any school anywhere. It's not until they say we could take over the City of Angels that they even really place it to say this is in LA, because it really could be any high school anywhere that has this kind of vibe. And I think the cinematography just kind of rolls with that to say, yep, this is anywhere USA, because that's not what's important.
What about you, Susanna?
I agree. It's very simple sets and backgrounds. When I rewatched it a week or two ago, I noticed all the bright neon colors, and how, because this was early 90s, you still have a very 1980s vibe in terms of decoration and neon signs and what people are wearing. Like the mom still has the big poofy updo, and so that caught my attention. It's kind of a nice throwback to that era.
Yeah, we very much admired the costuming. My daughters were all saying, "I'd wear that." So it's come around again.
Yeah.
I mean, so I started high school in 96. So this is the kind of thing I saw people wearing in school. So it kind of, like, for me, it felt like the nostalgia factor when I rewatched it. I like
this one was 92. So it's on the early side of that.
But the music has already changed. That was the other thing we were noticing is, I don't know, we're going to talk about soundtrack later, or
we can. But so for me, like with the cinematography, I like that it didn't make me dizzy. It didn't go for that Blair Witch Project effect. It didn't try to go too artsy or too weird. It just, focused on the action. And sometimes that meant, changing camera angles, but it didn't feel disjointed. It just felt natural. And ideally, that's what cinematography should do, right? It should feel natural. You should, if you don't notice it, they did a good job.
Yeah.
So in that respect, I would say they nailed it. So you want to talk about soundtrack? That is not on the list, but we can.
Well, the thing that we were noticing is we were talking about how the soundtrack is kind of mid. It's not fantastic, and they don't have a lot of really great songs. And so we were discussing, is that a function of early 90s music being kind of bland by comparison to the 80s, or is it just that they didn't pick a very good range of songs? There were maybe two that we recognized, and my daughters are young, so they wouldn't know. I mean, they weren't born in 92. They were still a distant, wish for us. But so it was interesting because the costuming worked so well, and the soundtrack really did not land for us. But so I don't want to go as far as saying, well, 90s music was terrible, because I don't really have an opinion on that. But it did make me curious, what went into the decision here for picking these songs that are supposed to be teen anthems, really. I mean, that's this is a teen movie, and I think of teen movies from the 80s, like, say, Better Off Dead, where the soundtrack is just an echo of what we were listening to at the time. And so I wonder, I wonder what went into the decision for the soundtrack, because it didn't work very well for us.
Yeah, I'm looking at the list, and it's interesting because they actually have some decent named artists, but it's not their top songs.
Right,
So
it's
like
not.
there's
Was it
Ozzy
a
Osbourne
budgetary
on
issue?
there, but it's Party with the Animals, which is not one of the ones
No.
that I go, oh yeah, that's a big Ozzy Osbourne.
Mhm.
Danny Elfman did some
Mhm.
of the work, and he's really well known for doing big stuff, and I wouldn't have placed that. REM, Everybody Hurts, that one's recognizable. Toad the Wet Sprocket is in there, but it's Little
But it's
Heaven,
not-
which again,
Yeah,
it's not any of their anthem
Right.
songs.
So they picked artists,
yeah.
but they didn't get good songs, or notable songs, I should say.
I
Because they're not
wonder-
terrible.
I wonder if the notable songs, if their notable songs came later and this is when they were on the come up, because I would have to know the history of each band to know that. The other part is, was it a budgetary consideration?
See, that's what I think.
We know REM is popular, but we can't afford his top tier, so let's go for a B-side song.
Yeah,
right?
see, I think that's what happens. Is I think that was how they kept the costs down, was not paying for the really big names, because I'm sure, because even if it was famous artists who are on their way up, why would you pick these people who then later became famous if they weren't famous now and you had no idea that they were going to become famous? So I think you're right that it's a budget thing. I think they had to cut corners, and that's where they chose to.
My youngest was with me when we watched this, and his answer was, "It sounds like the elevator music, Daddy." And I'm like, "You shut up." Because some of the songs I grew up with.
Oh, how sharper than a serpent's tooth. Oh my goodness.
Or the music in the background at the grocery store.
Yeah, I was.
That hurts.
I'm old enough. I remember when people considered Guns N' Roses and Pearl Jam to be heavy metal.
No.
Yes,
No,
things you weren't supposed to be listening to because it can be problematic. And it's like,
Wait, you weren't supposed to listen to that? My parents never told me that.
Yeah, my parents had a phase of telling me we can't listen to that heavy metal stuff, and now it's like just the lightest possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It plays on the light rock station now, which is weird.
Shut up! That's just mean.
Anyway, all right. So we talked about the soundtrack. I really did. I mean, it blended in well. It set the mood they were going for. But you're right. It isn't anything like rock ballady.
No.
It did its job, I would say.
Yeah.
So what do you think of the overall plot?
It was pretty simple. I mean,
it's fine.
Yeah. This is really about Buffy. It's not so much what Buffy is doing. So it's not, I don't know. I don't think it's great, but I think what makes it interesting is the characters and their interactions more than the plot. Although Rutger Hauer did not have enough to do, honestly.
No. Though he did chew scenery when he was there.
He did. He was great the times that he was there, but I think he could have had more to do. But I like Rutger Hauer.
I would say, given that it's an action movie, for all it's campy, you don't need as much plot. You're not relying on plot. It's the fight scenes. It's the one-liners. It's the body humor. So for me, like, I thought it was good for what it is. But I'm a sucker for a good B movie. Like, I have no shame in admitting that.
Yeah.
Although some of them didn't know they were B movies when they were filming them, and that makes it even better.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was, as I watched it, I was wondering if they were trying to, I don't say be deep, but trying to say something or portray something with the fact that Buffy was so disconnected from her parents. They were just always constantly off doing their own thing. And then Merrick shows up as a sort of father figure. And then the big bad vampire guy, I don't know what that was supposed to be, but that was like father/lover creep thing. But it just sort of like they were trying to portray a young woman trying to figure out what her role was as she grew up.
So to answer your question, the parents being gone, it's sort of a staple of the era, and it was a justification for having the kids do kid things that normally, if their parents were there, would go like not only no but hell no. So if you want to have the teens doing non-teen things, like a lot of the action movies, you need the parents out of the picture. So by default, you ended up with a lot of absentee parents. And it's right up there with the bullying. If you watch the movies, you think people were getting thrown in lockers and dumpsters all the time. It really wasn't that bad, but it made a good trope, so it was kind of overused. I don't think it's any deeper than that. It was just a standard overused trope of the time.
Yeah, but it does make sense they played with it.
Yeah, because some of that did happen. We did live that way. There's a reason why there was a commercial that says it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? Yeah, and a lot of the 80s and early 90s, the teens, we did do a lot of things. My parents had no idea where I was.
We were very free.
And it was when the street lights come on or when one mom yells, everybody scatters and goes home. And yeah, we did have people that got tossed in their lockers every single day. I walked by and saw it happen. So it did happen, and then the tropes were expanded upon and put into the movies. But there was a lot of a reflection of really what went on during those times, and then emphasized and made bigger.
I don't know, because when I was in middle school and high school, I never saw anyone get thrown in a locker. But our lockers were really narrow, so I mean,
I've never seen that either. I mean, not that it didn't happen. I mean, it's not part of my experience. So
I do know that the independence and the free range kid thing going on, like that was standard. But generally speaking, like you had a limit on where your arc of acceptable area you could go play in was kind of there. So your parents kind of knew where to look if they had to drive around. It wasn't like I could go to the other end of town 20 miles away. It was, a kind of a set perimeter.
But your point about needing the kids to have freedom so the parents are all absent describes every young adult novel ever, because that's
why they kill the parents all the time.
Yeah, well, it's an issue because you do have to give the teen characters agency, and if there are parents in the picture, they're like, no, we're not letting you do that, and then the story would be over. So
or they make the parent, usually one parent, very evil, and so the kid defies the parent, has a reason to, and you don't feel bad about the defiance.
Yeah. So
but I mean, then you get movie like The Goonies, where there was just kids running the neighborhood having fun, and it wasn't even absentee parents. It was just like that was a better representation, I think, of what the 80s.
Put that one on your list, JR.
Yeah, we could talk Goonies all day. That was a fun movie.
The Truffle Shuffle. That dude is like a jacked body.
I know, isn't it great?
He ended up so.
Okay, save it for that discussion. We'll talk about it.
Absolutely. That is going to have to be a summer watch for us. But I think the parents being gone is largely a staple of. Well, yes, like we didn't hover back then, but also you needed them out of the way because otherwise, there's a vampire. We're hiding inside and letting the cops deal with it.
Yeah. But they do, I mean, she does mention that she's upset about it on some level. Yes. She talks about how she wishes her parents were there. So I think it is a little deeper than just we need to get the parents out of the way, but in the sense that they did something with it. So they didn't just get the parents out of the way. They acknowledged that the parents were out of the way and it was a problem.
So when you see that a lot of times, what you end up with, it's either emotionally dysfunctional because one of the parents died and the other one didn't cope. That's the one trope you see. The other one you see where they actually make something of the parent not being there. It's the rich kid who's spoiled with things but not people. Yeah. And that's kind of the vibe they went for, where her parents were clearly of means. But because they were doing all the things to earn all the money, they just kind of ignored family. And that was just a prop for the family pictures to go out on business cards. And so it's almost a class thing, the way they portray it.
But it opened up the expectation and desire for her to have a father figure in Merrick. So that becomes very natural because he becomes the one that is always there for her. He's spending the time with her. He's protecting her. He's teaching her things. He laughs at her jokes. He tries to make his own jokes. So it makes it so that we can see that she's looking for that figure in her life. And it's part of why she also accepts all of the crazy that he puts in front of her. Because let's be honest, a lot of people would fight that a whole lot longer than, but because she was also looking for that connection, it opened it up for her to be more accepting. The plot is really where a lot of it breaks down for me. When I say I don't like the show, it's not, I like it for what it is. but I run into there's so many hints that it was supposed to be something more. And this actually ties into a interview that I read about. I read the transcript of the interview with Joss Whedon, where what he wrote initially was not what the producers wanted.
That's right.
Exactly.
And so he wrote something that had more mythology to it, that had more, that explained what is the connection between her and the main bad guy, and that had all these other things. And they came back and said, no, we want this campy, silly thing that goes with this idea of the cheerleader being the one who saves the world, tra la 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 la. And so the problem is that it doesn't commit either way entirely, because you still have lines left in there and situations left in there that hint at that much more developed, serious thing that he had, that it was severely limited by only having 80 minutes. And then he didn't go completely the other way either. And I wish that if he had said, okay, I'm going to write this the way they want it to, he had just committed to it, because there's places where the humor falls flat and things like that, because he's trying to tie it back to this bigger thing that then he would do in 97 when the show came out. And so that's where it knocks me off, is that I'm going along and I'm enjoying it for just what it is. And then one of those moments will come up and I go, wait, what does this connect to? And I'm never going to find out, because it's not part of the promise of this show. It's part of the promise of the show that eventually becomes Buffy the Vampire Slayer in television. And so that's where the movie knocks me out, just out of it, is those moments where it's like, but I don't understand this part, and I want to, because it's obviously cool, but it doesn't fit with this campy story that we're telling.
So I have to ask for the rest of you, did you see Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the series, before or after you saw this movie?
I think I saw it before.
I've only seen 5 episodes of the series, and it was after I saw the movie.
Okay, so you saw it after. Jana,
do
you remember?
I saw the movie first. So I saw it in, it probably wasn't 92, but it was on cable network shortly thereafter. And so I know I saw this one first, and then I saw Buffy, and I watched all of the seasons and Angel and everything else, and really, really loved them. And then I've watched it. This is the 3rd time that I've watched the movie since then. So they do affect the viewing back and forth.
That's what I'm curious about.
I remember being discontented with the movie before the series came out, but I couldn't put a finger on why. And then after watching it with the series and with the information about how the production went, that gave me the ability to say, this puts the finger on why I never fully engaged with it, because it was pulling me in 2 different ways, and I couldn't sink into the campy, because then they would drop lore in front of me that I'm like, oh, I want to know, but they didn't do anything with that. Dang it.
See, because my experience was completely different. We liked the movie for what it was, and the campiness, and the fact that Christy Swanson looks like she could kick vampire butt, enough that we did not watch the series until season 4.
Oh,
because it was a completely different experience, and it wasn't like we were disappointed that it went this way, because that was really cool that he got to develop it his way. It was that it was a different experience we weren't sure we were interested in, and it was just enough linked to the movie that we're like, well, this is not following up on what we loved about the movie. So it was much later that we came to it and said, okay, this series is really great, and it's completely different. They have the same name, the same background, but I'm going to see them as unrelated pieces of entertainment. So for me, it never does fall flat, because I am more interested in what I think the producers wanted Joss to do. In terms of making it a movie about a perky cheerleader who saves the world. And so I like that Joss Whedon got the chance to do his series his way. I know from what I've read that he was extremely disappointed in the producers. He fought with them quite a bit. And so that was always something that I was excited for, was that he got the chance to do this, because I could see how frustrating that would be. You have this vision and you want to do it a certain way, and the movie producers are like, well, that's not going to sell, which is presumably what direction they went, because that's what movie producers do, is is this going to sell? And sometimes they get it wrong. But anyway, so that's why I'm curious, because our experience, my husband and I that I'm talking about, but our experience was so different from everybody else we knew, that I do wonder. So, like, Susanna, what was I know you said you were 7 when this came out. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. Yes. So what was how did you come to this?
I'm pretty sure we rented it from Blockbuster one night. And I'm pretty sure I saw the movie before I ever saw the series. Mm-hmm. And I think I saw the series probably when it was several seasons in. Mm-hmm. I kind of, in a way, thought of them as 2 separate things because they were so radically different from each other.
Yeah.
But I was still able to appreciate the camp and the silliness. I kind of thought of as Buffy in an alternate universe. Mm. And but I mean, I agree with Jena. There's like the whole question of the way they set it up with the flashback scenes. Like it's this epic battle, but once the big bad is defeated, where does that leave Buffy? And is there still vampires, and does she still have to fight them? And like, what's going on here? Will the reincarnation stop? Will Merrick come back? And you know, it just leaves you hanging. But that's not supposed to be the ending they want to give you is her getting on the bike with Luke Perry,
right?
Zipping.
Yeah, it's the romance ending,
which is the cheesy romance ending.
But you were
very cheesy romance.
Whedon fighting with the movie producers. He fought with the producers over the show. He hated Spike. He wanted Spike dead, and they wouldn't let him do it because everybody loves Spike.
Because everybody loves Spike.
James Monsters is the man.
And speaking of Spike, that was when Luke Perry walks into the dance with his hair all slicked back and the jacket. We're all like, that looks like
It does.
Dye his hair, bleach his hair. He looks like Spike.
Well, and they did do some other things like that, like the white dress that she wears at the end of the first season of Buffy, the television show. She wears a very similar cut white prom dress with a leather jacket over it. So it is interesting how they did tie them together. There are several visual things that happen through this, and some of the humor, some of the one-offs and that kind of thing, that are lines and visuals that then did show up. They paid distinctly an homage back to this as they went through, particularly in season 1. But there are other places in the seasons that they do look back to this, and you'll see things that go, oh yeah, that's actually just like what happened in the movie.
Yeah, and you can. I mean, the fact that he didn't just discard all of the stuff from. I mean, the series starts with she's moved from L.A. because of horrible things that happened in her high school. I mean, that's the movie.
Yeah,
so
except they say that she burned the gym down.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they altered a little bit, but I mean, he could have just said she's grown up in Sunnyvale. He could have just said Sunnydale. They could have done a lot of other things. So I thought it was interesting that he wanted to link them at all, because again, to me, they're like totally different. I don't think of them in the same, except that they have the same character and concept.
Yeah. I think he links it to the script that he wrote.
That's very likely. Yeah.
Untouched. It's his version that it's linked back to.
So in his version, it started in LA. That makes sense. Yeah. I like that. That makes sense.
The one thing I know that I really liked when we go back to some of that campy though was the that death scene at the end.
It is the most scene-chewing death scene ever.
That was actually just goofing off, and then they kept it. And so that was another change, because that definitely there's nothing serious about that.
No, that was
fantastic. It's hilarious.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
And then the one-liner as she's at that final battle. What are you going to do? Get me with the cross? And she's like, no, with my keen fashion sense.
It connects back to an earlier joke.
Which she talked about.
Yeah, and of course the hairspray that was very popular in the 80s, because this is the 80s are still like some of that stuff is still around. I remember middle school with the girls in the wavy, hairspray hair, and lung cancer by association. Like I that was my middle school years, so I thought that was a nice kind of knockback to the trends from not that long ago relative to this movie being filmed.
Right.
You could start your shirt with that hairspray.
Yes. Yeah. So speaking of world building, because that's kind of what we're leading into, and if not, it's a horrible segue, and I'll own that too. One of the things I will say is that because it was filmed, in Earth, it's paranormal. Like you build on everything you already know, so you really have to do anything but explain the oddities, which makes their job a lot easier. But given that they had those oddities to explain the vampires and such, how do you think they handled that?
I have a pet peeve about this, but
go ahead, because I always speak first because I don't like silence. So go ahead.
So in the big fight scene at prom, well, it's not even prom, it's one of the dances.
Their senior dance.
Yeah, the Buffy goes, "Don't worry, they can't come in unless they're invited." And then like her ex-friend says, "No, I sent them invitations." That's not how that works. It's not a home, okay? If it's a home, then yes, they need an invitation. But it's a semi-public. I know it's a school, but it's not a home, right? They don't need the whole invitation thing wasn't even a thing. It didn't need to be a thing.
But it was a gag.
I mean, that was the whole point. It was, and you notice that when Lothos at the end, Lothos at the end does not wait for an invitation. He didn't get one, and he came in anyway. So it was strictly a gag.
So speaking of gags, you see the where the principal's going to all the corpses. You get detention and you
detention.
Detention.
I've got attention slips, and I'm not afraid to use them.
But no, for when you talk about the lore, where that's not how the home works. So theoretically, if you had a boarding school where they live and go to school, would that then apply?
Ooh, maybe their personal rooms, but not the rest of the school.
Yeah.
But what creates a heart?
Where you draw. That's why you get the legalistic jokes about the welcome mat being an invitation.
Right.
And instead you get the cool people that are those plates level 4 or whatever.
Yeah.
Or come back with the warrants, my other favorite. So it's the lore on that whole concept is so stratified and legalistic for some people because everyone wants to make their own little slant on it when they create something. That I don't know. I mean, you could almost draw the line anywhere you want to, and people are just going to go with it because everyone does it a little bit different.
Yeah. And that one was specifically the dance committee had that whole discussion about, do we have to invite this person and that person and the other person who we don't like? And they said, well, they're seniors, so we have to. And so that's the only reason that gag works. But we ran into a lot of lore problems in that way. This is, again, one of those where he wanted the world to be bigger than what was developed in 80 minutes because they don't really talk about that a cross can do anything, and then she whips it out. And it's and it lights on fire. And we're not given, if you don't know anything about vampires, if you've never done the paranormal thing, you'd be going, and what does that do? And then it lights on fire.
I don't think so. I think the cross in vampires is firmly established in the conscious. So
you would have to know vampires in some way.
Yeah, which most people do.
There.
I think
it's an assumption there.
I think if anybody knows anything about vampires, it's that crosses drive them away. So I think that was a pretty safe assumption for them.
But
now, catching on fire, no, but they did. But I think that there was more to it. Like, my least favorite aspect of the movie is the flashbacks where they didn't, I mean, not the flashbacks themselves, that was fine, but the design of the flashbacks and the costuming of the flashbacks, they cheaped out on that. And it bothers me every time because she's in the first one where she's wearing the weird costume and it's like that came out of some high school closet.
Yes.
The theater department closet. So, so
there's another point where Pike throws liquid into the face of his buddy.
They don't say that's holy water.
Again, we don't talk about, is it holy water? Is it alcohol? And he did that. I'm like, if it's booze, I don't know of anything that says booze would do that. But again, we didn't talk about where did he lay hands on holy water?
That's the one that bugs me. That's the one that bugs me. The cross is I'm fine with, but the fact that he's had that flask and he's been carrying it around and it has been liquor this whole time.
Yeah,
and he
now
throws it's like all of a sudden vampires are allergic to I don't get that.
Like you don't see a scene of him going to like a gear up scene where he goes and fills the flask and all that. And also the thing is with that lore is I don't know where I picked this up from. I read and watch so much, but there's a component of faith that has to go with this, so that if you don't have some level of faith, then waving two pieces of wood that make a cross shape aren't going to do you any good because you don't have any faith that backs it.
Well, it depends. It depends on who you're talking to, because there is that. I've read a number. I think Terry Pratchett is the one I'm thinking of with Carpe Jugulum, where it's vampires and the holy symbols affect the vampires, even though they don't have. They're just looking at them. Like the gag is that the father of these vampires is teaching them to resist holy symbols. So he has these flashcards that'll show them. And they're like, oh, that's just a cross. And so,
that's funny.
But it turns out that what he's doing is teaching them to see holy symbols everywhere. So it's not about the faith in that one. But I think your point is good, because I think that there are going to be people who look at that and think, well, shouldn't there be faith in this? And it's going to be a sticking point for some viewers. I think you're right.
So, when you talk about the going back to the cross and the guy makes it burn, I don't know, what is the lore on vampires and fire? Will fire destroy them?
Usually fire will
destroy them if you try hard.
Yeah.
So throwing alcohol on somebody, if your next step is to light them on fire, makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, vampires will burn.
And then the alcohol,
but Lothos,
all you would have to do for the alcohol to make that work is, I stole the communion wine. You just throw that one liner in and you solve that problem.
That would have been really cool, actually.
Right. Communion
wine. But there needs to be that line somewhere that says, there's a reason
because that just doesn't make sense.
Alcohol doesn't have a thing. It has to be blessed in some way. And if it was communion wine, I'd go with that. If it was stopped and filled at the font, because we do get the preparation scene where he's making steaks, and so you could show something in that.
He's filling up his flask.
This is 80 minutes. I would love to know, what does the 2-hour version of this look like?
Well,
but
the 2-hour version looks like Buffy the Vampire Slayer series.
Yeah, exactly. It would do too much.
Honestly.
So Joss Whedon just had kind of too big a vision, I think, for this. And
honestly, if he had thrown consecrated wine into the vampire's face, I would have spent the rest of the movie wondering, how did he steal that? Because there's never any leftover. At least not in my faith, but like, how did that happen?
Where did that come from?
The rest of the movie.
Yeah.
I've been to mass where there's been leftovers.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Okay.
Where would they put it?
Drinking
in
the
tabernacle? It goes in the tabernacle with the Eucharist when it's not consumed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, really. I mean, I think if you're in a congregation where size is consistent, you can time it so you know about how much you use. If you live in a military town where you never know who's going to have duty and who's going to be there, your services are going to be inconsistent. And then, of course, the chaplains never know. So on the military side, the military chapels also have that problem. So no, it's not uncommon for them to have leftovers.
Another solution for that, though, would be not to offer the cup. You don't have to. Only the priest needs to drink from the cup.
Well, the point, I mean, like, that's getting nitpicky.
I know the point you're trying to make. Yeah, no, I hear you. I'm just saying.
So I really do think that if they had just made it communion wine, and other denominations use wine as well, like the Methodists do, and they're sometimes left over, and it would, again, they don't have a tabernacle, but it was, the times that I knew of it, it was in the priest's office, or the father's, excuse me. Preacher, I don't know. I'm getting all mixed up in my head. But anyway, the whole point is leftovers happen. If they had said, "Hey, I stole this from a priest," you get the result of the holy water effect.
Well, I think they needed to do something, because I knew, watching it, because I know vampires, and so I figure a lot of people did, that, he throws water on the guy and he starts smoking. Well, it must have been holy water. Well, where did he get it? So they needed to do something, because either you knew what it was supposed to be and had no idea where he'd gotten it, or you thought the flask was still full of booze and didn't know why it was burning the vampire. It was just not explained.
He got that really high proof moonshine, like not the kind you buy from a store. That's really
there you go.
Stuff you get from Cletus back in the
down the road.
Yeah.
I mean, I've shopped at the store of Bubba when it comes to alcohol. I'm just going to say, I would believe it could kill a vampire. I'm just saying, it could kill just about anything.
Kill most things.
Yeah.
And that would be a hysterical story. Let's be perfectly honest. If somebody ever wanted to do that for an anthology, would be the kinds of things that good old boys use against vampires could be really, really hysterical.
Southern Vampire Hunter. Yeah,
it's true.
See, you're giving me ideas, and we're already booked on anthologies through 2026. And
sorry,
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So can you please
not even a little bit?
Jana, can you please not?
No, I am not capable of not.
Yeah.
And then, of course, because I do the anthologies, I get all kinds of people like, "Hey, JR, have you thought about this wacky idea? We could do it, right?" Like, biscuit eaters. And then I feel like this compulsion to write a story in my own dang anthology. Yeah. So that takes time away. I just can't help myself.
Yep. It's what we live for. But anyway, moving on.
Right. So back to the movie. So I think the lore being inconsistent. I wonder how much of that was the film issue and how much of that was what was left on the cutting room floor. Was that scene in there and they just cut it for time?
Yeah, I would not be surprised. Yeah,
because sometimes the stickler to the 86, like the hour and a half range, like they almost did that to the sometimes the movie benefits from that full second hour. Yeah, but they weren't doing that as much back then. It was the hour and a half range.
No, yeah, that was a typical running time for.
I wonder how much of that was the difference of filming back then with that technology versus the price of doing it with a digital camera made it easier. I honestly don't know enough about filmography.
I would like to see what hit the cutting room floor.
Yeah, me too. I'd be interested in outtakes from this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and the pacing's funky. There's some places where the pacing is definitely. If I were editing it, and part of this is editing to a modern audience where we expect our action to pick up sooner and that kind of thing.
Right.
Boy, do we spend a lot of time with the mean girls. So much time with the mean girls, and it's setups for gags and setups for other things. But it's to the point that I'm like, all right, let's move along. Yes, I know they're shopping so that he can see them there, and okay, let's. And we're in the theater for too long. There's a lot of places where it's like if we'd just taken a few minutes here and there, then the pacing overall would probably benefit from it.
So speaking of benefiting from things and such, it's a horrible segue again. I need to go to class on segues, but we haven't talked about the characters themselves. We've kind of danced around them in analyzing the film overall, but what did you think of the way the characters were portrayed?
I liked it. Well, this was the movie that showed me that Paul Reubens knew how to act instead of just mugging for the camera as Pee Wee Herman. So he was a delight to me. I liked that vampire sidekick thing. The characters and the actors are kind of tangled up for me in this movie. I mean, I feel like it's light enough that I'm looking at it and thinking, oh, Paul Reubens is doing a really good job, and not whatever his name was a really good character, if that makes sense. Like, I'm thinking, wow, they had to age Rutger Hauer up a lot to do this role, and not, wow, Lothos looks like an old person. So I think they did a good job fitting all the characters in. You've got all of the different types that you need for this kind of movie. You know, with between the mean girls and the jocks and the stoners and the girl who's kind of discovering that she doesn't fit in with any of them. I think it all works really well, I guess. But I'm really satisfied by the movie. I was enjoying watching it again. It's just, I don't know, it was fun. But yeah, that for me. It's the actors as well as the characters, really.
Yeah, and they got the angsty goth vibe that were taken off in the early 90s into the late 90s.
Yes, they did.
The angsty teenage girl, they nailed it with Christy Swanson. I can't picture anybody else's Buffy, and I know that other blonde chick did this TV series.
Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Yeah, I've only seen a couple episodes of that, so I'm not wedded to her acting on the character. But for me, like the cheerleader, Vampire Slayer is Christy Swanson for me, and I think she really sold her character. And you got to see some growth where she starts off as one of the mean girls, kind of adjacent to it at least, and then becomes more. And that's when she suddenly realizes, hey, this guy is not part of the popular crowd, but he's all right. right? Like you see that sort of evolution with the Luke Perry character towards the end. And then back a little bit at the dance where he says, what was it? Something to the effect of, "You're not like other girls." And then she's like, "Yes, I am." Like that. Yes, I can do all this cool stuff now, but I still want to be a girl.
Yeah, that's very moving to me, actually.
Yeah,
I like that.
And then she kisses him first.
Yes. Why was that moving for you?
It's moving for me because she's been through all this other stuff, and she has become something bigger than she is, but she's still just a girl. I mean, she still cares about being liked and wearing the right clothes, and not even the right fashionable clothes, but what looks good on her. She cares about what she looks like. She cares about the boy liking her. So she's just like other girls in that way. And so I find that moving because it's like an admission that you can be a kick-butt heroine and still be normal, still have normal desires. And I like that. I think that was definitely a Joss Whedon touch there. It felt like go ahead.
I like that she was the strong female character that, that I don't know that term was coined back then, that they were using it in that respect. But a lot of times when they do that, and we've talked about this on the show before, but a lot of times they just make it a dude with tits, right? Like you did not get that with Christy Swanson's portrayal of Buffy Sanders. Like she was very girly, almost to the extreme at the other end. And then suddenly, because of her cheerleading, because of her gymnastics background, she was able to do the moves and make it believable that she could do all that, kick butt stuff. Because they show her learning how to channel that into something more, and so she was strong female action hero and not a dude, and so for her, this characterization of that and Xena Warrior Princess to me are ways to show that the two can intersect. You could be very feminine and, oh, by the way, you kick people's ass.
Right.
So
I liked with Luke Perry's character, Pike. I know that the write-up calls him a fellow student and all that. I never got the vibe in the movie that he was a student. He felt like maybe he was just recently graduated and was still trying to figure, or a dropout, and he was just trying to figure out his life. And he felt slightly more mature than the rest of the crowd. Like even he knew that his friend was just too much of like he was trying to bring him to task on several things. And I always felt like I wanted to know his story more and what was his background. And I felt like, especially in that really touching scene when Buffy saves him when he's trying to leave town and in his van, which looks like the Scooby-Doo van. I don't know if anybody noticed that.
Yes, it does. The Mystery Machine, yes.
The Mystery Machine. But and they had that really moving talk in her living room. And you get you kind of walk away from it wondering that maybe he came from a similar background of just sort of being ignored by his parents and again, which would work for the era. And that there was just that connection there. So I liked how they wrote Pike's character.
Yeah.
Though the romance writer in me really, really wanted him to help her put the ice on her owies and this, that, and the other, and he kind of just stood there. And I'm like, would you please help her? Because it's awkward when you have bruises and stuff in weird places. And so the romance writer in me would have revised that scene a little bit to as they're having this tender talk.
Because she loses power if he does. And she's tough and he's awkward.
Again, it's romance versus the action adventure, because there was just a little bit of a moment where I kind of wanted him to show that he could help her there. But again, that's the romance writer in me going. But that would have
you're going to that meta romance writer trend where you see the bits where the romance writer is talking to the romance heroine. She's like,
oh yes,
I'll get a bath before we do any of that. And,
I do love those.
His hands, and we did that thing. Like maybe let him wash his hands first. Like I'm getting those vibes from you right now, Jana.
It happens. I do have discussions with the characters.
I wonder though if it also was Pike just being respectful of her.
That was the other thing I thought.
Space.
Yeah,
because she offered to let him go and sleep in the guest room but he preferred to stay downstairs. Like he wasn't going to let himself act like he was like a real guest in her home. Like he was very aware of the strangeness of this, the fact that she doesn't even really know him, because there's also a vulnerability to that. Because if that house plan works like I think it does, the guest room and her bedroom will be on the same level. And that might have just been too intimate, even that at that point. And he just wanted to hang back. He was still unsure in his surroundings in some ways too.
And I wonder about how much influence Luke Perry had over that role, because he was a big deal, and that meant that he had a reputation to maintain. That people want to see certain things when they see a Luke Perry movie, even if it's not a Luke Perry movie. So it'd be interesting, because I know sometimes you get the actors working with the script and saying, well, I don't think my character would say it this way, or I don't think my character would do this. And, sometimes we hear about them going overboard, but I think in general, there's nothing wrong with them making the character their own and then saying, this is not quite right. So it would be interesting to me, and I have no idea if this is true, but it would be interesting to learn what influence Luke Perry had in shaping that character beyond just what was in the script, because it is his role. His character is, to me, the most well realized of all of them, because even Buffy is sort of playing to type, and so Kristy Swanson is fantastic and she's doing a great job, but in the end her role is defined for her by the constraints of the plot, and Luke Perry is kind of outside that, and he's doing all this other stuff. And so yeah, I think his is the most well realized character in the movie.
Was Kristy Swanson a big name back then?
No,
I don't think I've seen her in much, but I don't.
She was in the show Psych had an episode where it was vampires, and they got a ton of people who had been in vampire movies. They got somebody like Corey Haim from Lost Boys, and they got Kristy Swanson to play the main secondary character, the one that the plot revolves around. And it was so much fun to watch, because you kept seeing these faces like, well, you were a vampire and you played a vampire and you played a vampire. And she was so good, they gave her a recurring role in the show. So she really made it her own, but she has not done a lot, but they brought her back for this and it was very successful. She was a lot of fun to watch in that episode. I don't know why I love that show, because the main character is kind of a hoser, and I normally hate that type of character, but he's wonderful. So anyway, that's like my favorite episode of the show, is the Halloween vampire episode.
Nice.
Okay. Any other thoughts on the character before we bring this to our overall thoughts on the show? We have this trend where we do movie reviews and our reviews end up lasting longer than the movie did.
Well,
okay.
We have so
much to talk about.
So, did you have anything you wanted to add, Susanna, on the characters themselves?
I thought Merrick was sort of a tragic character.
Okay.
And I thought that Sutherland really brought gravitas and humanity to it. Yeah. That really beautiful scene where he's talking to Buffy and they're in his what looks like an old theater, but that he's turned into his home, and he talks about how he'd make a really great bootmaker. And you get, like with Pike, you get a glimpse of where he came from, where he would have liked to have been, and it's just one of those parts of it that it wants to draw you in and like, oh, I want to know more. But no, the movie's about camp.
When I saw that bootmaker line, I wondered if he was older than human years, right? Like, because that was kind of a profession that had outgrown even then. And I'm starting to think, wait, is he, because of his role as training the vampire?
He was reincarnated, and he said that he would have all of his memories from his previous life.
Yeah. So he Yeah, so he's that age, but he's had many different lives, and he's always known.
Remembers them. Yeah.
Which is why the bootmaker thing is so cool, because it does speak to this earlier existence that he had. So
yeah, I don't know. There was a lot of room in the universe if they had gotten to expand. I almost feel like I'd like to see what the novelization would look like if it went where he intended it to go.
Yeah,
that would be interesting.
Because then he's not limited. I don't know if Joss Whedon's ever done that, like turned his ideas into novels.
Well, they have novelizations or novels about the Buffy the series.
That's not the same thing as his
but it's not the
original
same. Oh, here we go. A novelization of the upcoming feature film starring Luke Perry.
They're really pushing that man's name.
There is hang on. There is a novelization of the book, of the movie, and the description here says a novelization of the upcoming feature film starring Luke Perry follows Buffy. Blah blah blah. Movie tie-in. So
I love the cover.
In case you did not believe me that Luke Perry was a huge deal in 1992,
there you have it.
And he's never looked like a teenager. I don't know what's going on with him.
Yeah, that might be why I never once really believed that he was a fellow student.
See, I think that's part of it. I think that's part of it because he has never looked like a teen, even when he was in 90210. He did not look like a teenager.
He looked older.
And so another one of those actors that looks better the older he gets, or at least looks more his age. Because usually you get those actors who look younger than they are, and they're the ones playing teenagers, but they're really 25 or something. And he was kind of the opposite.
So that is the book cover.
Yep.
And I'll link to the novelization in the show notes. We normally do the movie trailer and where you can buy the movie, but I'll link to that book as well. Yeah, I don't know. I just felt like there was more room to go, and maybe because I watched the Highlander series, and so his character gave me Watcher vibes, right? And so it kind of wondered: is there a larger organization? Is she the only vampire slayer? Are there others?
Well, Jana made that point, that it feels like there's a lot of lore hooks that never got followed because it's an 86-minute film.
Yeah, it was just, and it's why it made a good television show eventually, because it had the space to start digging into those and say, where does this go? What does this mean? Can there be more than one? They do look at the Watchers as an organization, all of those kinds of things. And so I think a lot of the seeds are in this, but again, the nature of it, the feeling that they wanted out of it, and that really short runtime pretty much said, like we said, you had to follow a really simple plot of, okay, introduce who she is, introduce that there are vampires, introduce that there's a Watcher. The Watcher has to identify her as the Chosen One. She needs her training montage to become the Chosen One, identify the bad guys, fight the bad guys, show over. It's a very straightforward kind of plot because that's all you've got, all you can pull off in 86 minutes. Even though he had all these other ideas, and we get these glimpses at them. Because I almost look at it and go, I think Pike was kind of, the heir apparent to what Merrick had been doing to become now her Watcher, the person who brought her stuff. He provided the spikes. He had all those things. And then she's like, at least one of us came prepared. And it's like, isn't that the job of a Watcher? Because Merrick's the one who gives her the stakes in the first place, all of this, that, and the other. So it's interesting, all the places that this gives hints to, and we do see a lot of those play out, in the show. So, okay, really quick pet peeve thing. Why is it that so many of the stakes are about this big around, and they're really hard for her to wield because they're these giant things? And I'm like, if I'm going to be when they did the rulers, I loved rulers. I liked the little dowels. There are things that make a whole lot of sense where you're going to grab this and stab something with it.
Not like a stair banister.
Yeah, and several times there are these giant things, and she can barely get her hand around. I'm like, this is a stupid thing to be a spike. So,
well, it does make you wonder why they chose that. What went into the set design there for props?
Yeah,
that was the option.
Huge.
Well, at the end when Pike, because he's the one who brings all of those different, his hands are probably bigger than hers. So he doesn't have a problem sharpening it, getting it ready. He's probably using whatever wood is available. That's why they're different sizes and thickness and things like that, slightly different shapes, because he's just grabbing whatever wood, scrap wood is available to shave down. And so,
but there's several that we see all through the show.
The earlier ones are the ones I'm thinking of.
Ginormous. The most early ones have, I mean, they're like carved and everything. Like Melissa says, they look like the part of a stair banister. And if you're going to grab that and you have time for it, carve that thing down. It's ridiculous because trying to get just the force that has to go behind it from a stabbing point of view. There are reasons why a knife wouldn't have a gigantic hilt that way, because you're not able to push the force through. So it makes it look a little bit ridiculous when they've got things that very literally she can't get her hand around in order to get a good stab. So pet peeve. I'm done now.
No, but also that brings up a point with Merrick. He had that stake that had this elaborate carving on it. You saw it in a flashback, and you see it again, him using it. And you see it one more time when Merrick dies and Buffy takes it and she tries to kill Lothos and fails. There has to be a story there, because he would have had to recarve it, wouldn't he? So
unless he left it for himself somewhere to be picked up later. Yeah.
But then that just means there's meaning to it. So what was that about? Was it special in some way? That's another big hanging question. What is going on with that particular stake?
More things we will never know.
Unless we all kidnap Joss Whedon and sit him down.
Hey, Joss, is that NDA run out yet?
My headcanon says.
So before we go to the overall, if you were going to write a novel in the universe as the show was, not the series, because we'll do another episode about the series, what angle would you take? Would you try to just redo the plot and add to it, or would you take it a different angle? So for me, while you guys think, for me, I always wonder what happens when the curtains fall. Like, for instance, the superhero Marvel movies my son likes. What happened? You've literally just destroyed the city. Who comes and cleans that up? What happens with the insurance agents and the insurance companies that are now bankrupt, right? I wonder what happens when the curtains fall. So for me, that'd probably be where I take it. What happens? Is there no more vampires in her lifetime because she was the one for her generation and she killed them? Or
I would take it. I would tell Merrick's story. Actually, I think this story is complete the way it is, but I would be interested in telling the story of Merrick, because he dies in this movie, but that just means he's coming back again at some point. So wouldn't it be more interesting if you showed his life over the series of incidences he's had, because he remembers all of it, and then drawing on what we were saying, maybe Pike is the new Watcher. So does that mean Merrick can lay down his stake and be done? So I think that would be the story I'd tell.
Or another angle to that would be, Buffy moves on with her life. She not obviously, but she has kids. And what if the next Watcher generation she births, right? That would be a fun angle you could take on it, because you don't know what age he gets those memories. Is he born instantly with them, or do they come to him?
Right.
It's some meditation.
It'd be really hard on him as a little kid if he had all those memories. How awful.
Right. And so I wonder if that would be an interesting angle is keep the two characters together, but now, the mentor-mentee relationship inverts.
That'd be interesting.
It'd be an interesting take.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought about that until you mentioned Merrick's story, though. Yeah. So what about you, Jana?
Really, this stands really pretty good for what it is. I think I might go back into the vampires, because there's enough hints that there's more there, because it's Lothos is and like I said, I can never think of the name of the second cheese vampire, but that he says, I'm building you a family. We're going to take this over. There's the kissing of the hand. So there's a whole relationship story there between Lothos and his second in command, and reasons that they're doing things that they're doing, and they're doing something that they've done before. And we got some of that in the flashbacks, but not with any depth. And so I would be interested if I was going to write in this world. I don't think I'd take on Buffy's story. I think it's well told here. I think that I would take some of the background there and figure out, how did we get the vampires to where they are, and what are really his goals? What is that whole we are as one, and what is it that he's trying to build besides just saying, I want to destroy the City of Angels?
All right. Last but certainly not least, we got Susanna.
Gosh, I'm a little torn. I like Aftermath stuff too. I would be interested in knowing where exactly were Pike and Buffy going on that motorcycle. Were they leaving town? Or are they just going back to her place and gonna crash and then figure out what they were gonna do? I would want to know what I would want to write what happens next for them. And can their friendship survive beyond the tension and the chaos of where it was formed? But I'm also interested in just focusing on Pike and his story. And I don't know, maybe fun to rewrite the whole thing just from his point of view. I don't know.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
That would work. All right. So as we wrap this up, Melissa, overall thoughts on the movie?
Oh, it is one of my guilty pleasures. I love this movie. I quote it. Nobody ever knows what I'm quoting when I say kill him a lot at one of our role-playing games. No one knows, but it makes me happy. So I love how many little parts are people who became really famous later, like Hilary Swank as one of the Mean Girls, Ben Affleck as basketball player number 10, not credited, but my daughter pointed out, said, "Isn't that the guy?" And I said, "It's not Paul Rudd. It's Ben Affleck." And there's a lot of people in there who David Arquette went on to be famous. And I just love that they all came together and they made this fun little movie. And I'm really glad Joss Whedon was disappointed with it, because if he'd been satisfied, we might not have gotten the series. So I am pleased by that, for as hard as I'm sure it was for him. But yeah, it's great. It's fun. I love it.
All right, Jana?
It's fine. I had fun watching it. It was fun to go back to it, but I can't say, I want to watch it again tomorrow. It actually makes me want to go queue up my series and watch what it became and rewatch the Buffy the Vampire Slayer series. But I don't regret that, in that, like Melissa says, without this, we wouldn't have ended up having those other series that I really, really love.
Right. So
it was such a great starting point for getting this mythos together, for turning it into something that I will rewatch. So from that point of view, I am grateful. And it was fun to have a good reason to go back and rewatch it and kind of compare what I thought I remembered of it to rewatching it now. So I'm grateful to have that opportunity, because again, there were parts I really loved, and still a lot of things that, it still just doesn't quite scratch that itch for me.
Okay. Susanna?
Like Melissa, it's a comfort watch. It's something you can watch while you're like crocheting or whatever. Of course, I also consider the movie Dog Soldiers a comfort watch as well. So
that is an excellent movie. I keep waiting for the sequel. They promise but never deliver.
Oh, I'm scared of a sequel. Sequels are hit and miss, man. I don't know.
They're hard.
But I just, it's just a comforting thing that if you can turn your brain off as you're watching it, and I really enjoy it. But I have to keep it, because I haven't seen every single episode of the Buffy series, but I have to keep it in 2 alternate universes. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't enjoy it as much.
Can I say one more thing? I just looked this up because I was curious. This was Joss Whedon's first film project. Before this, he had done episodes in a couple of TV shows, but this was the first one. So I can see now why he would have come into this thinking, I want to do this, and learning I get to do this.
That's not how this works.
So I can see where that happened. But yeah, I was curious. I was thinking, well, what order did this come in? What did he do? And as a writer, this was his first film. So there you go.
Wow.
All right, I liked it. I like campy movies. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. I like all of the campy movies. Give me all the werewolf Nazis and vampires and dog soldiers. And, like, I want all of it. I'm good. I like the campy angle. There's a time and a place for it, but I am curious to see what it might have looked like had it been his original vision. Because I also like the serious, the stuff that makes you think. So overall, it's still a guilty pleasure of mine. I watch it. So I've watched it several times. And now I'm sad you didn't get to come on the Dog Soldiers movie review.
Oh, yeah, sad.
Aw.
Good movie. Excellent movie. That's one of my favorites.
I love the werewolves in it. They're perfect.
I'm a sucker for werewolves. I'll admit that. All right. So with that, this is the part where I remind you, dear listener, to please be kind and speak your mind on the reviewing platforms. Your reviews help the right readers and the right watchers of movies as well. It helps the right readers find the right books. So really do your part. It makes a big difference, especially if they're small press indie guys or trad pub books. Like, they all need them. So do your part. Like, it really doesn't matter. With that out of the way, Melissa, where can they find you on the wild, wild interwebs?
Well, my website is melissamcshanewrites.com because I still haven't switched it over to melissamcshane.com. And you can find the link to my shop at nightharborpress.com, where all of my books are available, ebooks and print, directly from me. Let me just point out, in case you're one of those who hasn't seen Amazon's new push, Amazon sells you ebooks as a license, not as a book that you own. And if you buy direct from the author, you will get a file, an ebook file that you get to keep. So there's my little plug for buying direct from the author, not just me, but from all the authors out there who benefit. So I'm on Facebook occasionally. I have a Discord. I am on Goodreads, and not as a writer, but as someone who enjoys reviewing and reading. And so I do that for my friends on Goodreads.
All right. What about you, Jana?
Well, I will quickly add to Melissa's plug. Please go to her website and buy her stuff, because while she's in India, all of her books live in my basement.
That's true.
And we're preparing for something later this fall, and there are stacks of books everywhere. And I would be really happy to ship them all out to you. And then there's cool bundle packages and all sorts of neat stuff. So absolutely buy her books and let me get them out of my basement.
Yes,
that is why we buy her books from BookFunnel, because
that's right.
You don't lose it if they
get them from BookFunnel. You don't lose it. You have it forever.
I haven't, but BookFunnel would let you download it if you wanted it to.
That's right.
So, all right, but where can they find you, Jana? You told us where
they can find me over at opalkingdompress.com. That is where myself and my many different personalities live. That is also where my open calls are, because like JR, occasionally I do call for anthologies. We are putting out, there's an anthology that, as of the time of this recording, is coming out this weekend, and that is really, really fun, all about phoenixes. And then the next one that we are closing is griffins, and that call closes on July 31st. So if this gets out before July 31st, you can still send me stories about griffins. And then you can find me under Jana S. Brown or Jena Rey all over the internet. I'm really bad at hiding, and almost all of the references that are those names comes back to me sooner or later, because I'm on Facebook most frequently, but I'm also on Twitter, and I'm not good at Instagram. I have a thing there, but I update it infrequently, and I always think I should learn how to do this, and then I don't. TikTok's much the same way. I own a TikTok account, but I've never posted anything there, so you're not going to find me there either. But Facebook, Amazon, all of those other places, I'm around. I'm easy to find.
So my Instagram is much like the podcast Twitter that I run. So it's all memes all the time. I have started doing shorts where I'll do like a book, what I'm reading now, and do like a highlight reel of under 3 minutes, compressing what I think of a book in that short of time is difficult. And those go on my personal TikTok as well as the whatever. So I have a grand total of 3 things on TikTok. And when I have something new to upload, I'm on TikTok. But other than that, like, it's too much of a hassle to go to a computer that I can protect from, the Chinese bots and such. So I'm with you. I'm not there much. And I really don't think Instagram's worth more than family pictures or memes. I know people who say they use it for everything from dating to selling, but selling books and such. Wow, that was a segue a little too close to for what I was trying to say. But yeah, so I'm with you. I'm not much for the Instagrams either. But what about you, Susanna? Where might they find the author, sometimes referred to as S.L. Linton?
Like a Prince wannabe. You can find me. I have a website, sllinton.com. But I post a short story a month on my Substack, theforgottenlibrary.substack.com. That's where my newsletter lives, and that's where I post a short story a month, and sometimes I serialize a novella. I'm also on Instagram and X, same name-ish, and that's where you'll find me. I'm not really on X too much. Instagram, I post mostly stories, but whatever.
Yeah.
So with your short story a month, at some point in time, are you going to bundle them together and sell them as collections?
I actually am, because my there are a couple of common universes that have sort of evolved on that Substack. So I hopefully will get a collection together of stories that all take place in the same county called Baxton County, which is a made-up county in the low country of South Carolina where things just get creepy and weird.
Nice.
And yeah, there's a monster called Chicken Leg. So, so I
as one does.
As one does. So hopefully that I'll have that out, if not this year, next year.
All right. And you can find us, dear listener, on our Linktree, linktr.ee, Linktree/Blasters and Blades podcast. Again, Linktree/Blasters and Blades podcast, where we link to all the things, the BitChutes, the Rumbles, the YouTubes, the TikToks, the Twitters, the Spotify, the Discord, the Blasters and Blades Facebook group and Facebook page. We have our email, blastersandbladespodcast@gmail.com. Again, blastersandbladespodcast@gmail.com for professional purposes only, people. Save the shenanigans from Adam Stabby Stab over there on the Instagram, the Twitter, and the email. You can support the show by going to buymeacoffee.com/author J.R. Handley. Again, buymeacoffee.com/author J.R. Handley. Be sure to put in the comment section that it's for the podcast, and I promise I will keep my co-host duly caffeinated. They will drink that coffee brand coffee till it pours out of their eyeballs, and we will swim away on a river of Java goodness. If you want some of that coffee brand coffee, link is in the show notes. Discount code is podcast grunts. You get 10% off. We get a little bit of a kickback. It's a win-win, people. And it's local because it's actually not a drop shipping operation. They roast those beans in the continental United States. So, you can help support the local economy. That's always a good thing. And with that, I would like to thank you for spending some of your precious time with us. For my crazy co-host, I am J.R. Handley, and this was the Blasters and Blades podcast. We'll be back next week at the same time, where we'll indulge our love of nerd culture, cheesy jokes, and all things that go boom. Thank you for coming on, peoples. Join the discussion in the Discord, Facebook, all the places, dear listener. And with that, we're going to hit the end button. Don't cuss yet,